What's going on today, guys? Welcome back to Sacred Jedi Texts. We are going to be going through Chapter 28 of Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire. If you've not caught up, if you are just now finding this series, I'll link the Heir to the Empire playlist at the top of the video right now. So just click that little eye icon, that information icon, and that playlist will be linked there. Today we are going to be catching up with Luke, Mara, and R2, and make sure you stick around to the end of the chapter to see exactly who shows up and what happens. We're in the home stretch now. We've just got about 4 chapters left. Most exciting part of the book. It's here. But I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Thank you all for being here. Just make sure that you're subscribed and leave a like on the video. So Chapter 28 first starts out in Luke's point of view. He, Mara, and R2 are still in the forest, but they are very close to Hilliard City. However, they can hear the whir of speeder bikes around them. So if you'll remember, Thrawn sent that chariot assault vehicle over to Hilliard City with a bunch of stormtroopers and scout troopers, and they're on their speeder bikes, so Luke and Mara can hear the speeder bikes all around them. Luke and Mara are trying to identify where exactly they are, and Luke asks R2 to pull up a holographic map of where these noises are coming from. They see that they are everywhere except the north, so Luke suggests that they go that way. Mara thinks Luke is an idiot, and she says that's exactly what the Empire wants them to do, so they are making them think that they are all around them, so they will have to travel to the north, but when they get there, they'll only fall right into the Empire's hands, so they need another plan. Luke suggests that they just need to walk straight up to the Imperials and call out to them, making it look like they need help. They can execute that role switch that Card came up with, where Luke acts as though he is the person named Jade that has went after this thief, and that Mara is actually the prisoner. Even though Mara doesn't like this idea, and she's expressed that in previous chapters, she agrees to it. She hands Luke her blaster, but takes the power cell out of it, and Luke argues that they will probably check to see if it is loaded. She reluctantly hands the cell back to him, and he puts it back in the blaster. He then asks for his lightsaber, and she gives it to him, and he puts it in R2's dome, similarly to how he did in Return of the Jedi. That is when Mara realizes how Luke smuggled his lightsaber into Jabba's during those events. Luke asks if they are ready, and Mara says not yet. She grabs a leaf and brushes it across Luke's arm. Pain shoots through it, and then it starts itching and leaving some puffy, dark-colored welts on his skin. Mara says that will work well enough since he's very allergic to it, and that he needs to put some on his face so that he doesn't look like Luke Skywalker at all. He's not too happy about the fact that he has to do this, but he does take the leaf and he rubs it on his face, and after a few moments Luke looks completely different. The pair then start making their way straight forward toward the Imperials, hoping that their plan will work. After traveling toward the Imperials for around a kilometer, Luke and Mara are met by 2 biker scout troopers. Since they came up on them so fast, Luke can tell that the scouts have known their location for some time now. One of the scouts tells them to halt, and he gets off his bike and comes up to them. Luke plays his part as well as he can, saying that he's glad to see the scouts and that he's been walking forever and he needs to sit down, he needs a transport, that he has a prisoner for Talon Card. They ask him his name, and he says that it is Jade. The scout then tells Luke and Mara that they will come with him, that his officer wants to talk to them. Luke then plays it up like he is a bounty hunter, saying that he wants both scouts as witnesses for Card, that he was the one who got the prisoner, that captured her, and she's in his possession. That Card often weasels his way out of payments, and obviously this is just Luke trying to make everything seem more real. The second scout then comes up and gets off his bike, tells Luke and Mara and R2 to follow the first scout, and tells Luke to drop his blaster on the ground. It takes the group around an hour to reach the edge of the forest. During their trip together, more scouts emerge and join the ranks, as do stormtroopers. By the time they get to the edge of the forest where Hilliard City is, there are at least 10 biker scouts and 20 stormtroopers surrounding them. When they reach the clearing of the forest, Luke looks ahead and sees 3 more people. 2 stormtroopers on either side of a hard-faced man sporting a major's insignia. The major comes up to them and asks who they are, and one of the stormtroopers says that it's a bounty hunter named Jade and his prisoner. He then asks Mara her name, and she says it is Seni Kifu, and that she's not a thief, that Card owes her big, and she was just taking what was rightfully hers, which is the R2 unit. So Mara's now playing up her side of the story as well. The Major then tells the stormtroopers to get R2 off the speeder bike and make him roll because the ground's more flat now, and he tells them to cuff Luke and Mara. Luke protests, but the Major says that they are both prisoners for now. He then asks Luke what happened to his face, and Luke says he ran into a bush. The Major says when they get back to their HQ, they have a fully qualified medic that can get his face back to normal. So that's not really good, right? Above them sits a repulsor lift craft, a chariot assault vehicle, just like Thrawn sent, and Mara a couple chapters ago was worried about one of these being here, and so her suspicions were confirmed. So Luke is a little worried too to see it now, but he's not surprised since she said they might be needing to expect one. As the group continues to walk toward the town square of Hilliard City, the stormtroopers change formation, and Luke can see why. Up ahead, Luke can see 4 men walking toward them with a 5th man in the center and his hands chained up behind him. 4 stormtroopers intercept that little group, and after the strangers give their blasters to the stormtroopers, Luke can see who the prisoner is. It's Han Solo. The Major asks the leader of that group what he wants. He says his name is Chen, and that they caught their prisoner snooping around the forest, and that the Empire may want him too. The Major pulls Han over beside Luke and Mara and tells Chen that if he is worth anything, he will let Chen have a cut of it, and that they can pick their guns up later at HQ. Han then comes up directly beside Luke, and in a callback to Return of the Jedi, he says, "Together again, huh?" And Luke obviously responds with, "I wouldn't miss it." They keep moving toward the center of town, and ahead Luke sees a giant archway in the middle of a huge clearing. He thinks to himself that it's a perfect place for an ambush, and can tell that the Empire feels the same way since they start to shift around their formation again. Luke can see that the Empire knows an ambush is possible, and maybe even probable, and he asks Han if 3PO is here. Han says yes, that he is with Lando. With no other choice, Luke sticks out his foot and trips R2. After R2 falls down, Luke hurries up, bends down, and pretends to help him up, but he is really telling him to contact 3PO and wait until they get to the archway before Lando and the rest of the men start their attack. R2 loudly warbles and beeps, hoping that 3PO will hear him, and then the Major asks what just happened, what that transmission was. Luke says that he has no idea, that he's probably just mad at him for tripping him, and that he can't understand him, and the Major tells his troops to be on full alert. So you can tell the Empire is kind of suspicious of everything going on here, and that just made it even more so. They start walking again, and Han tells Luke that he hopes he knows what he is doing. Luke says he hopes that he does too, and that in just a few minutes they will find out for sure. So that marks the end of Chapter 28 of Heir to the Empire. Everything for this final showdown is being set up now. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but I will just go ahead and say that you can expect in the Chapter 29 video, which is obviously next, that we will still be with this group of people, and we will get to see exactly what happens if the Empire gets ambushed, what Lando and 3PO do, what happens with all of them. We will get to see that in the very next chapter, so you can be looking forward to that in the next video. But I thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the book so far. We're very close to the ending, and then we'll jump into Dark Force Rising, and we'll continue this Thrawn trilogy. But thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, leave a like on the video, and keep reading Star Wars.